Okay, welcome back, students. So, in this session, we will look into shear stresses in beams, PSC beams, how to analyze shear stresses, okay, in beams. So, in the previous class, we have studied a few details regarding shear stresses, what are shear stresses, how they are generated, and shear transformations. We will just revise a bit, and then we will move on into numericals. So average shear stress, like we calculate your normal shear stress, right? Normal shear stress, that is F by E, right? So, sigma, what we write as normal shear stress. This is what the force that is coming there and the area of the cross section, that is B into D, right? It is similar to this particular thing which I have written over here, right? So force that we take over here, we assume that it is distributed like this equally for normal stress, right? And it is true for normal stress. We can see that in the cross section, the stress is the force, the normal stress, the normal force that is acting on the cross section is it is uniform throughout the cross section. Hence, we can apply this particular formula F by A for calculating the normal stress. But we cannot apply the same formula like this for calculating the average stress, average shear stress. V by BD we cannot do. If V is the shear stress, shear force that is acting on the cross section, and BD is the cross sectional area. Okay, so this type of formula like we apply in our normal stress cannot be applied directly to shear stress, because shear stress distribution like I've shown over here, this is not true. Shear stress is not equally distributed throughout the cross section. Okay, it is distributed like this. You can see arrow marks are smaller at the top. They increase in size as they reach towards the neutral axis, you can see, and as they go towards the bottom, they go on decreasing. And the shear stress is not equally distributed. It is, you can see, it is parabolically distributed throughout the cross section, throughout the depth I'm talking about. As the depth, it varies in this parabolic form, okay, in a rectangular section. So we cannot apply this particular average formula which I have written over here. So for this particular equation, we have to, for the calculation of this shear stress, we have to use this particular formula, V A y bar by IB. Okay, now what is V? V is the shear force that is acting on this particular section. What is A, small a, that I've written? It is the area which I've shaded over here. Okay, now how do you decide this particular area? You decide a plane of interest, okay, POI, which I've written plane of interest. Suppose you want to find shear stress at this particular plane, at this particular height. Okay, so this is our plane of interest which I've shown in red. So the area which I've shaded will become from the top towards this particular plane of interest, the area which is included in this top fiber and this particular area of interest. So this area which is B and this particular height, suppose it is H. Okay, so the small a will be B into H, B into H. And what is Y bar? Y bar I have denoted over here. You can see it is the centroid of this area. This point I have marked the height from the neutral axis, or the vertical distance from the neutral axis to this centroid. It is Y bar. And suppose if this particular plane of interest is below your neutral axis, you have to consider from the bottom surface towards the plane of interest, and calculate this particular area as I've told you, and Y bar will be like this, from the neutral axis to this to the centroid of this particular area. Okay. So A, we know what is a y bar, we know what is I, it is nothing but moment of inertia, right? Moment of inertia, which is BD cube by 12. We have to take the entire session, okay? Not only this area, we have to consider the whole area B and D, the whole area have to consider for calculation of this I. Okay, we know B is over here, we know it is same, no problem. Then if you want to find at the neutral axis itself, at the neutral axis, if your plane of interest is at the neutral axis, then what will happen? The area will be what? B into D by 2, right? B into D by 2, which is half of the depth. So area I've written over here, B into D by 2. And what is this Y bar? It is again half of this D by 2, half of D by 2, that is D by 4. Okay, then I have written BD cube by 12, then B I have written as it is. Now, if you simplify this particular formula, you will arrive at 3 by 2 V by BD. It is 3 by 2 or 1.5. Okay, this is not factor of safety. It is 3 by 2, which is after simplifying this particular thing, we will arrive at 3 by 2 V by BD. Okay, now this V by BD, what we can say, this is nothing like, this is looking like an average value, right? Average value, right? So we will term it as 1.5 T average, T average, tau average. Shear maximum stress, maximum shear stress occurs at the neutral axis, which can be found out as 1.5 into tau average. Okay, 1.5 into tau average. What is tau average? It is V by BD. Okay, so for various sections, there are various these factors which we can multiply to T average to calculate the maximum. For rectangular, it is 1.5 into T tau average. For circular cross section, I think it is 4 by 3, correct? 4 by 3 tau average. So it is a shortcut formula which you can use to calculate directly the maximum shear stress in a particular cross section. So for rectangular, it is 1.5. For circular, I think it is 4.3. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Then this is what I have written over here. This is very important. We will be using this particular formula for solving your numericals. Then certain assumptions I have told you what we had taken. Assumption tau is constant across the width of the cross section, that is B. Okay, tau is constant, that is your shear distribution. You can see here this distribution is constant throughout the width of the cross section, throughout the width. You can see I have drawn a 3D image of your beam. This is how the shear stress is distributed in the depth wise. Okay, as you go towards as you move on in through your depth, this is how your shear stress is distributed, okay, in a parabolic form. But if you consider the uh, variation of this particular shear stress across your width, okay, across your width, it is constant. You can see it is straight line, it is constant, right? It is straight, it is not varying, right? So if you take this particular section which I've drawn here, T max, this particular rectangle, so it is like this, it is visible like this is your breadth. Okay, this is your B. It is constant in where it is not varying to, with respect to your width. Okay, but actually this is not the case. We have assumed that it is constant, but actually it will be varying in this particular format. Okay, across your B it will be varying, and what we will take is we will take this particular average which I've shown over here. We will take this particular average and we will consider that value over here. Okay, so this is not important. Just remember that assumption that we make is that tau is constant across the width. Okay. Now coming to second assumption, second assumption is that shear stresses are aligned with the y-axis. Shear stresses, you can see in arrow marks I have drawn, they are aligned along the y-axis, right? So this is an assumption. This is not always true. In the rectangular cross section, it is true, but it is not true in all the cross sections. Okay, and it is not true in all the cross sections. You can see in a circular cross section, you can see stresses are aligned tangentially. Stresses are aligned tangentially to the free surface. Okay, but it is true where it is true only at the neutral axis. You can see at neutral axis all the arrows are perpendicular to this particular neutral axis. Okay, so stresses are aligned to, with the y-axis is the second assumption which we make. Okay, so keep these two assumptions in mind. Next, coming to an I section, you can see I've drawn an I section, and this is the shear distribution, okay, of the I section. You can see this is how your shear stress distribution is in a I section. Okay, and this is what, this is the bending stress. The right side distribution is what, it is your bending stress. This is your distribution of shear stress. Okay, you can see at the neutral axis we have maximum shear stress but zero bending stress. Okay, maximum shear stress but zero bending stress. And at the flange section, you can see we have zero shear stresses but we have maximum bending stress. Okay, at the bottom also it is same. So we can say that the web handles the maximum of your shear, right? Web section handles your maximum shear, and your flange handles what, bending stresses. Your flange is made to handle your bending stresses, and your web is what contributes towards your holding your shear stresses. Okay. Now coming to stress transformation, this is very important regarding your uh, numericals. This is very important. We will be using this particular concept in solving your numericals. Okay, stress transformations. Take an element, right? We have taken an element from your pre-stressed beam. Okay, we have taken an element, okay, which is stressed in both the axes, right? In x-axis also and in y-axis also. It is stressed in both the axes. So you can see this is normal stresses which I have indicated in blue color. right? Normal stresses are indicated in blue color, and red color you can see they are shear stresses. Okay, red color they are shear stresses. So sigma x is in x direction, sigma y is in y direction. Okay, and then tau xy is the shear stresses. Okay, so this is what we have considered a 2D. Okay, we have considered a 2D stress element, not a 3D one. We have considered just a 2D stress element. Okay, so we know we have certain formulas to calculate this uh, particular sigma 1 and sigma 2. What is sigma 1 and sigma 2? They are principal stresses. We have this particular formula, right? Now, how to calculate this? I will tell you how have we arrived at this particular sigma 1 and sigma 2. That is your principal stress, maximum principal stresses, and minimum principal stress. Okay. Now, this particular element is aligned along the x-axis, right? It is aligned along the x-axis, right? But sometimes what we want to determine at a certain plane, right? At a certain plane. Suppose like this is your element and this is your weld that you have made, right? Then you can align your element in this particular format to determine the stresses that are generated at this particular plane. Okay, so what we have to do, we have to rotate this particular element of ours as required. We can rotate at theta p. Okay, we can rotate our element and align it as per our requirements, and we can find out the stresses that are acting normally and the stresses that are acting shear stresses that are acting on that particular plane, right? Suppose we want to find the stresses on this plane, right? So normal stresses is sigma theta, shear stresses tau theta, right? That is over here if you want to find at this particular angle. Okay. Now, if you want to find out at a particular plane like this, you can cut your particular element and take the theta like this from the vertical plane. Okay, take the theta from the vertical plane, and on this particular plane, you want to find your normal stress, which is sigma theta, normal stress sigma theta, and your shear stress. Shear stress on this plane acting is tau theta. Okay, so this might also be the case, or you can find out using this case, any case. So theta p and this theta, sorry, this is not theta p, this is theta, the angle which we have rotated. Okay, so theta and this theta is same. Okay, if you have rotated it by the same axis, you can find out by trigonometry that this particular angle that we have rotated here, theta, and this theta is same. Okay, then to find out this particular sigma theta and tau theta, we have a formula with us. Sigma theta and tau theta, we have a formula which I have written on a, which you can see on your screen. Sigma theta and tau theta, to find out sigma, that is normal stress, and shear stress at any particular angle. At any particular angle, we have this particular formula. Sigma x, sigma y will be known to us, we can substitute. And tau xy will also be known to us, right? Theta is the angle by which we have rotated. Okay, sigma theta, tau theta, we can rotate, we can find out by this particular formulas. Okay, then we will start with what? We will start with 0-degree rotation. We will find out sigma theta, tau theta. We will go on rotating our element. We will go on rotating our element until certain degree. Okay, until certain degree where we find out that the sigma is maximum and shear stress is zero. At this particular angle of rotation, we can find out, we will find that sigma is maximum and tau is zero. That is shear stress is zero on this particular plane, and maximum we can see that it is shear stress, sorry, normal stresses are maximum. Okay, we go on rotating continually, we continue our process, we go on rotating it again, and we will find out that at certain degree again, at certain degree of rotation, we will find out that shear stress again is zero. Shear stress again is zero, and there is minimum normal stress at that particular plane. So this particular plane where your shear stress is zero, we call them as principal planes. Okay, principal planes where your shear stresses are zero, and the maximum corresponding maximum normal stress and the corresponding minimum normal stress is, we name it as sigma 1 and sigma 2. These are called principal stresses, and the angle at which they are angle at which they are first angle is sigma theta, sorry, theta p1, and the second angle we will name it as theta p2. Okay, principal plane, principal axis 1, principal axis 2, where your shear stresses are zero. And also you will make an observation that these two angles are separated by 90 degrees. Okay, they are separated by 90 degrees. This is one observation that you will make if you go on deriving sigma theta and tau theta at various angles. Okay. So principal stresses are which where your shear stresses are zero. Principal stresses are where your shear stresses are zero. Okay. Now to determine this theta p, okay, to determine this theta p, we have one formula, right? We should instead of going on substituting a value of theta from 0 to 360, we can directly find this theta p1 by using this particular formula. 2 tau xy by sigma x minus sigma y. Okay, so this is formula for theta p, and sigma 1 and sigma 2 can also be found out directly by this particular formula. This is very important. These two formulas are very important and required. Okay, sigma x plus sigma y by 2 plus or minus square root of sigma x minus sigma y by 2 whole square plus tau xy the whole square. Okay, this particular formula is required to calculate what maximum and minimum principal stresses. Okay, in some cases they will use fx and fy. Okay, fx and fy instead of sigma x and sigma y. Fx and fy instead of sigma x and sigma y. Okay, so these are what principal stresses. Sigma 1 is maximum principal stress. Sigma 2 is minimum principal stress. If you use plus, it will be sigma 1, and if you use minus sign, it will become sigma 2. Okay, so it is plus or minus, right? So if you use plus in this particular equation, it will give you sigma 1, and if you use minus, it will give you sigma 2. This is maximum principal stress, and the second one is minimum principal stress. Okay, so I think until here we had studied in the previous session, we had studied until here. So we have this particular equation with us, which we will be requiring. And one more important equation is tau v. Tau v, that is VA y bar by IB. So these two equations are very important and required for solving your numericals. This particular equation for shear stress and this maximum and minimum principal stress equation. Okay. Sigma x plus sigma y by 2. Okay, remember sigma x plus sigma y by 2. Similarly, it is the same over here, but it is with minus sign. Minus sign. This is also squared. This is also squared. Okay, tau xy is inside. Okay. So usually sigma y will not be there. Sigma y or fy will not be there. Will not be given to us because this is what fx is. What fx is pre-stressing that is applied in your normal axis, right? This is your pre-stressing force which is applied, right, in this direction, which is nothing but P by A, right? The pre-stressing force which you apply divided by the cross-sectional area. And what is Fy? It is the stress in the y direction, stress in y direction, which is not provided, right? Normally in PSC beams, we do not provide any pre-stressing in the vertical direction. We usually pre-stress our beams in horizontal direction. So Fx will be existing, but Fy will not exist. But in some cases, in some rare cases, Fy will also exist, and there we have to consider Fy in this particular equation. That is sigma y we are talking about. Okay, so usually this term will be 0 while calculating. Okay, so your calculation will be easier compared to your normal where you solve in SOM. Okay, so this is what we had studied. So remember these two formulas, tau v is equals to VA y bar by IB, and Fx and Fy formula, that is, sorry, not Fx and Fy, sigma 1 and sigma 2, that is maximum principal stress and minimum principal stress. So usually we consider the maximum one as compressive. Okay, sigma 1 we have considered as compressive, and sigma 2 is what is minimum stress, right? And that we will consider as tensile. Okay, tensile. So these are a few sign conventions that we have to follow. Okay, so this is the theory part which we have covered. Now we have to move on to numericals. So I hope this particular theory part is clear. There is no derivation and all. Just for your understanding, I have explained to you how we have arrived at this particular equation. There is no derivation. To make you understand, I have explained this. Okay. So this is regarding your theory. Now we shall move on to your numericals. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Can we move on to numericals? Numericals are very easy in the initial, these whatever we will be using, right? These two formulas, using these two formulas, the numericals are very easy. No need to worry, very easy numericals. But the design numericals we will look into later on. Okay. So here, this is what we will call as tau v. Okay, tau v, okay, tau v. And while using this particular V or shear force, right? Shear force which you are using over here. Make sure you write the ultimate shear force. Okay, ultimate shear force VU, ultimate shear force. That is what 1.5 into V. Right, we multiply your shear force by a factor of safety, that is 1.5, and then we consider this VU in your equation. Okay, don't forget to multiply and consider the factor of safety. Then, okay, then rest all things are same. I have explained to you. Here you can see instead of sigma, I have used what? I have used F. Okay, Fx and Fy I have used instead of using sigma. Same thing, same formula. Okay, these are what? Principal stresses. Principal stress. Okay. Shall we move on to the numericals? Let me know. Shall we move on to numericals? Yes. Only remember these two formulas.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So these two equations are required for solving your numericals. Okay. So theory part I've explained. So this particular for numericals, so we have to solve using these two equations. It's very important. So I've explained how to particularly calculate tau v and f max and f minimum. Okay. So we will head on to first numerical, very easy numerical, wherein we have a PSC beam of 10 meter span. Okay, 10 meter span, cross section is given to us 120 by 300, 120 by 300. Axially pre-stressed. Okay, axially pre-stressed meaning in the x direction. Pre-stressed in the x direction. Axially pre-stressed with a pre-stressing force of 180 kilonewtons. 180 kilonewtons is the pre-stressing force, that is capital P. Okay, total UDL is 5 kilonewton per meter, including the self weight. Okay, so they have given UDL which is inclusive of your self weight. So I will write W as 5 kilonewton per meter. That is total, the total UDL which is acting. Then compare the magnitude of principal tension developed in the beam with and without pre-stress. You have to find the principal tension developed in the beam with and without axial pre-stress. So with axial pre-stress, that is your P is equals to 180. We have to consider that is in your first case, that is with pre-stress, with axial pre-stress. And in the second case, without axial pre-stress, we should not consider this P. Right? There is no pre-stressing force which is acting in the second case, right? Without axial pre-stress. And what you have to do, we have to compare the magnitude of principal tension. Okay, we will do that. Now, these are given values which I have written over here for your understanding. Given values is cross-sectional area to 120 by 300. Pre-stressing force is 180 kilonewton. Total UDL acting inclusive of self-weight is 5 kilonewton per meter. Okay, now Fx, I've told you what is Fx. Fx is the normal stress that is acting, right? Normal stress that is in the axial direction, in the x direction. In the x direction, this is in y direction. Okay, Fy is in y direction and Fx is in x direction. So axial pre-stress is in x direction and it will be what? P by A. P by A. P is what? The pre-stressing force, that is 180, and A is what? The cross-sectional area. Right? P by A, if you do, you will get the Fx value. Fx, that is 5 Newton per mm square. 5 Newton per mm square. Then Fy, we have no vertical pre-stressing that is applied here. We have no vertical pre-stressing, so Fy will be 0. No vertical pre-stressing, hence Fy is 0. Now, shear stress, I have told you the formula VA y bar by IB. VA y bar by IB. Remember, V is what? Ultimate shear force. Ultimate shear force VU. Don't forget to multiply V by 1.5 to calculate VU. Okay. Now, let us calculate all these things that are required over here. Okay. So I is what? Your moment of inertia. Moment of inertia. B d cube by 12. B d cube by 12. The whole section you have to consider for this particular equation. B is the breadth and D is the overall depth divided by 12. No problem. We can easily calculate moment of inertia. Now, coming to this V, we have to calculate, right? VU, we have to calculate shear force. Now, this is the particular free body diagram which I have drawn over here. So the support reactions will be what? Half of the load, like half of the load meaning 10 into 5 is what? 10 into 5 is what? 50. So 50 kilonewton is the total load acting on this beam. So half of the reaction will come on this side, half of that force will come on the other side. So 25 and 25. Okay, reactions we have determined 25 kilonewton here and 25 kilonewton here. So where is shear force maximum in this particular beam? Where will the shear force be maximum? Where will the shear force be maximum? At the center span, at the quarter span, or at the support? Can you tell me where will be the shear force maximum? If you remember the shear force diagram, where is the shear force maximum in this particular beam? At the center span, or the quarter span, or at the support? Try to answer. Where will be the shear force maximum, Mama? Sandesh, answer. Try to answer. Where is shear force maximum? Then we have Srinivas.
Sir, can you repeat, sir?
Where will be the shear force maximum in this beam? Will your shear force be maximum at the midspan, or at the quarter span, or at the support? No answer. Shear force, Baba. This is your bending moment diagram. The bending moment is maximum at the center.
At the supports.
Correct. Your shear force will be maximum at our supports always, right? Shear force diagram is like this, right? Shear force diagram is in this way for this particular beam. So it will be maximum where? At the support, right? So we have to calculate at support section. We have to calculate V at the support. Okay. So shear force is maximum at support. So we will calculate the shear force where it is maximum at the support. So at the support, this is a reaction, that is WL by 2, 25 kilonewton. We have calculated, no problem. Okay, so this is nothing but V, right? This is nothing but V, that is your reaction, that is at your support, right? It can be at A or it can be at B. Both the sections, your reactions are 25, no problem. And at the support, I have drawn the shear force diagram, right? It is nothing but 25, and it will go down, and again it will be 25 over here. This is 25. This is also 25. So at the support, what is the shear force? It is nothing but the reaction. It is the reaction at the support, right? So 25 kilonewton is nothing but V that we have to consider. V is nothing but a reaction A or B, 25. Now what we will do, we will multiply by 1.5 to calculate the ultimate shear force. Okay, we have multiplied by 1.5, you can see, to calculate the ultimate shear force VU, okay, 37.5 kilonewton. So we have calculated what? We have calculated VU, we have done, we have calculated I. B is directly breadth of your beam, no problem. Now we have to calculate A and we have to calculate Y. Correct? We have to calculate A and Y. I have told you what is A. We have to consider at neutral axis where your shear stress is maximum. Here at shear stress distribution, if you remember, it is in this format. At where is it maximum? It is maximum at the neutral axis. Right? So we will consider the maximum value, that is at the neutral axis. Okay. So the area will be throughout from the top to this neutral axis. It will be from the top or from the bottom also, you can consider, you will get the same answer. From the top, you will consider to the neutral axis. You have to consider this particular area. Okay. Now, area, what is the area now? Area is equal to 120, right? 120 into this area, into this depth. 120 into the depth will give you your area. What is this depth? Half of 300, correct? Half of 300, that is 150. So 120 into 150 is your area. That is your small a. Now Y bar is what? The centroid of this particular area, the distance of the centroid of this particular area from the neutral axis. From the neutral axis, the centroid is located at what? Half of 150, right? Half of 150. This is 150. So half of 150 is what? 75, correct? 75. This is 150. The half of this is 75. So Y bar is equal to 75. Okay, so Y bar we have written. So now we have all the things required to substitute in this tau V formula. So we can substitute. Remember to take care of your units. Units, it is in kilonewton. Don't forget to convert it to newtons. Okay, so we have converted to newtons. V A Y bar by I B. Okay, V A Y bar by I B. We have substituted. We have got tau V as 1.56. Okay, tau V we have got as 1.56 Newton per mm squared. Now, principal tension, to calculate principal tension, see we have substituted here F maximum or F minimum, right? Plus or minus we can apply F maximum, F minimum. Here without axial pre-stress, meaning Fx is equal to 0. Without axial pre-stress, Fx is 0, and obviously Fy was also 0. Right? There was no vertical pre-stress, so Fy was 0, Fx is also 0. Hence, both of these terms you can see they are 0. Okay, they are 0. Now, this is also 0. Fx minus Fy by 2 was here. Fx minus Fy by 2. Both of these are 0. Hence, this particular term is also become 0. Now, plus tau square, okay, tau v square we have here, plus tau v square. Tau v, what is the value of tau v? It is 1.56, right? 1.56. So this square and this particular square root has cancelled off, and you will get 1.56 Newton per mm squared, plus for F max minus for F minimum, okay, plus for maximum, and Y minus for minimum, right? F maximum and F minimum. Okay, so this is the first case wherein we have substituted without the axial pre-stress. In the second case, with axial pre-stress, we have to consider what? Pre-stress, that is Fx is equals to phi Newton per mm squared, right? What is Fx? P by A, right? P by A, which we have calculated. F max phi by 0 by 2, that is Fx plus Fy by 2, Fx plus Fy by 2, Fx is phi, Fy is 0, Fx plus Fy by 2 plus, for calculating maximum, plus square root of Fx minus Fy by 2 the whole square, plus tau v square, Okay, so the value of this is 5.447 Newton per mm squared, Now, F minimum is what? F minimum, same thing, the same thing you have to substitute, just this plus will become minus. Okay, so this plus has become minus, rest all things are same. You can calculate, you will get as minus 0.44. So this is for tension. Okay, so in the first case, what was the value? Minus 1.56, right? Maximum tension or maximum principal tension was F minimum, that is minus 1.56 for the first case. For the second case, it is minus 0.44. So what you have to do, you have to compare these two magnitudes. How can we compare these two magnitudes now? This is maximum principal tension in first case and in second case. Okay, so can you tell me whether the maximum principal tension, it has increased from the first to second, or is it has decreased from the first to second case? Okay, it has increased or it has decreased, maximum principal tension. Whether your maximum principal tension has increased by the application of pre-stress or whether it has decreased by the application of pre-stress. Compare just the magnitude. You have the values on your screen. Tell me which value is higher, which is nearer to 0. This is near to 0, right? This value is near to 0, meaning this value is higher, right? This value is higher, hence it is decreasing, right? It is tending towards 0. That is, your maximum principal tension is decreasing. It is decreasing as we apply your pre-stress. How can you calculate your magnitude? That is the difference, the change in magnitude. How can you calculate? So this particular difference between these two divided by the initial value. Initial value was what? 1.56 is the initial value. Right, initial value into 100 to calculate in percentage. So the difference between these two, meaning we will consider this as plus. Okay, the difference between these two values, difference between 1.56 minus 0.44, what is the value? That value divided by the initial value of maximum principal stress, okay, into 100, you will get the difference. Okay, so this is how we can calculate. Next, I hope this numerical is clear. So why have we calculated tau v? We have calculated tau v to substitute over here. Okay, to substitute in this particular equation. So this tau v, what we calculate is to substitute over here. Okay, so Fx and Fy we can calculate easily, right? Fx is nothing but P by A. Fy is usually 0, right? And if they want us to consider Fy, they will give you directly the value of Fy. Okay, so Fx, Fy will be known. Tau value or the shear stress value you can calculate using this particular formula. You can substitute, you can calculate F max and F minimum. Okay, so is the first numerical clear to you? First numerical, can we move to the next, second one? Yes, are you there? You can let me know by raising your hand. Those who are there can raise your hand and let me know whether you have understood.
Sir, why we need to calculate that percentage, sir?
It is given in the question, right? You can read, compare the magnitude of principal tension developed, okay, with and without axial pre-stress. Okay, they have told in question. If they have not told, you do not calculate this. Okay, they are told to compare. So we have comparing. Okay, nothing else.
Okay,
That is
sir.
not a standard thing that you have to do. That we have done only because they have mentioned in the question.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So can we move on to the next one? Second numerical. The first one is very easy. Let us check what is the case in the second. Okay. So here, what we will do, we will refer to the second one, first question itself. Refer the previous question. The same details we will refer. But here the changes, the cable is parabolic. The cable is parabolic with eccentricity 0 at the support. So you can see eccentricity is 0 at the support, and eccentricity is 100 mm at the midspan. Okay, we have a parabolic cable and we have 100 mm eccentricity at the midspan and 0 at the supports. Okay, the rest all things are same, right? L cross section, your P and your W, all the things are same. No problem. The beam is same. Only change is your parabolic eccentricity is there at the center span, that is 100 mm. Now, similarly, what we will do here, we will calculate your V. We need to calculate V. Okay, we need to calculate. But here we have some extra steps that we have to do. Okay, because we have this particular tendon which is inclined, right? We have an inclined tendon, and so we have to calculate a few extra things over here. Okay, now considering at this support, right, where your shear will be maximum at this support. So this particular cable is going like this. This particular cable we will consider, okay, this particular cable which is having a pre-stressing force of P. Okay, so I have considered a cable at the orientation of your cable, or the subslope of your cable, right? It is, we'll consider this is your horizontal and this is your vertical, right? It is in downward direction, hence it will come downwards. So this is PV, which is vertical, and this is PH, which is in horizontal. So I have resolved this particular P. Okay, I have resolved this particular P into your horizontal and vertical force. Okay, P I have resolved into horizontal and vertical. So what is PH? Can you tell me now? Is it cos or sine? P cos or sine? P cos
Cos,
or
sir.
sine? Cos, sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. PH is, you can see it is P cos theta. Similarly, what is PV? It is P sin theta. So now we need to find out this theta. Theta value is not given, right? It is not given in the question. So we need to find out theta value. Okay. So when the case is, if your theta value is very low, theta value is very, very less, very less, what we have to do, we can neglect this. What is cos 0? What is cos 0?
1, sir.
Cos 0 is 1, right? When your theta tends to be very near to 0, right? Very near to 0, your cos, this particular term will become 0. Sorry, this will become to 1, right? Cos 0 is 1, right? This will become 1. So PH we will consider as P. Okay, PH we will consider directly as P itself. Okay, because our theta will be very small, or it will be very near towards 0. Now, what is this particular equation? How can we, if this particular theta is very near to 0, right? Sine 0 is 0, so we cannot write as 0 over here. What we will do, we will neglect the sine over here. Sine, this term we will neglect. Theta we will keep as it is, right? So sine we can neglect and we will keep theta. Hence PV will be equal to P theta. Okay, so PH is equals to P and PV is equals to P theta. So here we will be requiring PV, okay, because we are not considering H, right? We are not considering H for shear force. For shear force, we have to do summation of vertical forces, right? Shear force usually acts in your vertical direction. So we have this reaction with us, which is your RA, and we have this particular PV, which is acting in downward direction, right? At the support, at this particular point, I have resolved, right? PV. So we have reaction, which is acting upwards, and we have PV, which is acting in the downward direction. So we have to do summation of these two. Now, For reaction, we know it is WL/2, which is acting upwards, right? It is acting upwards at the support. And similarly, we have PV, which is acting downwards, right? So what is PV? It is nothing but P theta, right? P theta. Now, what is this value of this theta value? What is the value of this theta? Theta, when you have a parabolic cable, it is 4E/L. Theta is 4E/L, and when you have a halved tendon, when you have a bent tendon at the center span, if you have a straight which is bent at the center span, so it will become 2E/L in this condition. Okay, for this and this I have written separately. So at this support, okay, support this theta we can calculate by using 4E/L. Okay, so that is what we have written. So 4E/L, what is the value of 4E/L? So 4 into E, what is E now? 4 into E is 100, right? 100, I think it is 100 divided by L. What is L? L span of the beam is 10 meters. So this is equal to 0.04. Right? Eccentricity given to us is 100. Length of the beam or the span of the beam is 1000. Right? 4 into E/L. So it is 0.04. Theta value is 0.04. So that is what we have substituted here. Okay. So this particular reaction we know is 25 kilonewton, right? Reaction is 25 kilonewton, and P value is given as 180. P value is given as 180 in the question. You can read P value is 180. P value is 180 into theta, that is 0.04. Okay, into theta. So V value is got as 17.8 kilonewton. V value is 17.8 kilonewton. Now don't forget to multiply by the factor of safety to calculate ultimate shear force. Ultimate shear force multiply by 1.5, you will get the ultimate shear force as 26.7 kilonewton. Okay, then now we have all the things that are required. We can substitute directly in this equation. Right, all the things are there, we can substitute. Now, one thing, if you remember from the rectangular section derivation in the theory part, I have told you, right, to calculate the maximum shear stress in a rectangular section, add the neutral axis, right? Tau V, right? It is what? It is 1.5 or 3/2 into V/BD, right? V/BD. This is the simplified formula for a rectangular section. For a rectangular section, if we want to calculate the shear stress, maximum shear stress at the neutral axis. Okay, so instead of this formula, we can directly substitute in this particular formula, right? VU/BD. At this particular formula, we can directly substitute. We will get the same answer. Same answer you can try. So you'll get the same answer from both these equations. Okay, so this 1.5 is not factor of safety. Okay, it is this particular 3/2 which is there. Okay. So VU/BD. Okay, so 1.5 as it is we have written. So what is VU? 26.7, and that I've substituted, multiply by 1000 to convert this kilo to Newton, right? Kilonewton to Newton. Then B into D directly you can substitute. This is the overall depth of the beam, okay? Overall dimensions, overall cross-sectional area, not the cross-sectional area of this particular shaded area. It is not this area, it is the overall dimension of the beam. Okay, 120 into 300. So we'll get 1.11 Newton per mm squared. Okay, 1.11 Newton per mm squared we have directly got. Instead of substituting in this big formula, you can directly calculate when you want to find the shear stress at the neutral axis. Okay, in the rectangular section, remember. And tau V is done. Next, we can calculate now the principal stresses. Principal stresses is what? This particular formula we know, right? Now, what is Fx? Fx is P/A. P/A, P is 180 into 10 power 3 by cross-sectional area, that is 120 into 300. 120 into 300, right? Cross-sectional area. Now, this is 5 Newton, same. And Fy, there is no vertical pre-stressing, hence Fy is 0. F1 is maximum principal stress and F2 is minimum principal stress, right? We know this particular equation, Fx plus Fy by 2 plus square root of Fx minus Fy by 2 the whole square, at this particular is whole square, minus tau V whole square, tau V square. So it is 5.23. Similarly, you substitute minus instead of plus, all the things are same. You will get minus 0.23 Newton per mm squared. So this is how we can calculate when you have a parabolic tendon with a slope. Okay, so this is the case which you have studied, and we have found at the support section. Okay, remember we have found at the support section. Okay, so if they give you to find at the support section for this kind of eccentricity, right, at when you have a straight tendon which is bent at one point, right, then you can use this formula to calculate theta. But in this case, when you have a parabolic tendon, we can use this particular formula. Okay. So I hope this particular numerical is clear. I hope it is clear. Yes. If any doubt, please let me know. I will explain once more. Is it clear, guys? You can let me know by raising your hand. Please raise your hand and let me know whether you have understood so that I can move forward with the next numerical. Others, I also hope you have understood. Please keep giving me your feedback so that I know that you are you can lower your hand. Okay, moving on. So this is same question which we have referred from the first numerical. So we have solved using the same data, but here the change was we had used a parabolic cable. Okay. Coming to third numerical, you can coming to the third numerical, you can see we have a rectangular cross-section beam, a rectangular cross-section of 200 by 650, 200 by 650. It is pre-stressed by a parabolic cable, okay, at an eccentricity of 120 at midspan. You can see 120 eccentricity at the midspan and 0 at the supports. 0 at the supports. Okay. Then, if the beam has a span of 12 meters, span is 12 meters, you can see here 12 meters, and carries a UDL of 4.5 kilonewton per meter. This particular UDL is of 4.5 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Find the effective force necessary in the cable for zero shear stresses at the support section. So this statement is important for us to calculate now. For this condition, calculate the principal stresses. We have to calculate what principal stresses, that is F1 and F2. We have to calculate, no problem, but they have not given us other values. We have to calculate what based on this statement. Find the effective force. They have not given us the pre-stressing force. We have to find out the pre-stressing force P. Okay. Necessary in the cable for zero shear stresses. Shear stress is what? Tau V. So they have told that this particular tau V has to be equal to 0. Tau V has to be equal to 0 at the support section, at this particular support section. Anyone you can take. You can either take the left or the right. They have told that at this particular support section, your shear stress has to be 0. So applying this particular condition, you can find out the required or the necessary pre-stressing force P. Okay, so they have not given us P, they have given us a condition. So we can use this condition to calculate your P. And after you have calculated P, we can calculate your principal stresses. Okay, we can calculate your principal stresses. Okay, so this is what is the problem statement. Now let us look into the solution. Okay, so these are the given data, right? P is unknown to us. P is unknown. Tau V has to be equal to 0. This is the condition that they have given. This is the total UDL that is applied, and length of the beam and the eccentricity at the support. Okay. So this is not the total UDL. Okay, this is not the total UDL. This is only live load. So you have to calculate dead load and then calculate the total load. So we have to calculate the dead load of the beam. So the dead load of the beam is cross-sectional area, right? This is the cross-sectional area of the beam into the density of concrete. Cross-sectional area of the beam into density of concrete. This is the dead load which is acting on the beam. Then live load, it is given to us, it is 4.5. Okay, summation of these two is the total load, that is 7.62 kilonewton per meter. 7.62 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Now, tau V we can calculate by this particular formula or by the second formula. Any formula we can apply, right? 1.5 VU by BD. Okay, 1.5 VU by BD. You can apply this formula to calculate your tau V. Now, first we have to calculate VU. What is VU? Right, VU at support, it is WL by 2 minus PV, right? You have to consider this parabolic tendon, right? same as we have considered in the previous numerical. At this particular section, we have your reaction which is acting, right? Reaction which is acting in upward direction, RA, and we have this parabolic tendon, right? P, which is having a pre-stressing force of P, right, and inclined at an angle theta. Okay, the vertical resolution of this P, I will draw over here. So this is your P, which is at an angle theta. So we will resolve this particular P into vertical, that is PV, and this PV we know it is equal to P theta, right? Including neglecting that sign, we have told that because theta is very small, we can consider directly it as P theta. Okay, so that is what we have written. Hence, because it is acting in the downward direction, we will consider it as negative, right? Because it is acting in a downward direction. So you can say it is negative minus PV. Okay, so this is the reaction and this is the vertical component of your pre-stressing force. Okay, so we have substituted W, right, which we have calculated here, W into L divided by 2. W into L divided by 2, and P theta we will keep as it is because P here is unknown. P is unknown, right? Theta we can calculate, right? 4E by L, 4E by L you can substitute. We can calculate theta. Okay, E is 120, right? E is 120. L is what? 12,000, which is 12 meters, right? Length of the beam is 12 meters. So 120 by 12,000. So it will become equal to 0.04 P. Okay, 45.72 minus 0.04 P. Okay. Now to calculate, this is nothing but V, right? This is what? This is V. Now multiply this by 1.5 to convert it to what? VU. To convert it to VU. That is ultimate shear force. Ultimate shear force you have to multiply by the factor of safety, right? Factor of safety, that is 1.5. So if to multiply this whole equation by 1.5, it will become 68.58 minus 0.06 P. Minus 0.06 P. Okay, so VU we know. Now we can substitute in this particular equation VU by BD. Now the condition that they had given us, right, that TV, that the shear stress at the support section is 0. This is the condition that they had given. So equating it to 0, 0 is equals to 1.5 by B, 1.5 VU. 1.5 VU is this, what is the, which you have calculated. We have substituted here 68.58 minus 0.06 P. Right, this I have substituted here. Then 1.5 by BD is from the equation itself, right? 1.5 by BD into VU, right? Okay, BD you can substitute, right? That is the cross-sectional area of the beam. What is the cross-section area of the beam? We know it is, I think it is 120, right? Sorry, 200 by 6. So 200 into 650. 200 into 650 it is. That you can substitute here and you can simplify this equation. So 0 as it is equal to 102.87, right? So what we have done here is, okay, so this BD, why have I not substituted here is because this BD will go on the other side, right? It will go on the other side, it will become multiplied by 0, hence it will be equal to 0, right? BD will go on the other side, it is equal to 0, so BD into 0, it will become 0 itself. So this particular value I have not substituted. Okay, so 1.5 into 68.58 and 1.5 into 0.06 P. Okay, so this equation will become 102.87 minus 0.09 P equal to 0, equal to 0. So P will be equal to what? P will be equal to 102.87 divided by 0.09, divided by 0.09, that is P is equal to 1143 kilonewton. So we have successfully found out the value of P. So once you know the value of P, you can easily calculate Fx. Fx is what? P by A, right? And there is no vertical pre-stressing, hence Fy will be equal to 0. Fy is equal to 0. Only Fx value we need, that we can substitute. So Fx is equals to P by A, that we have done over here. You can see P by A is 8.78. Then Fy value is 0. So now substitute all the required things in this particular equation. F max and F minimum we can calculate. So Fx is 8.78, sorry. Fy is 0, sorry, Fy. This is equal to 0. Divide by 2 plus or minus square root of fx minus fy by 2, and tau v is equal to 0. This particular thing is equal to 0, that is given in the question itself. Okay, so you can substitute and we can calculate, right? So it will come again equal to 8.78 itself, right? This is 8.78 by 2, 8.78 by 2, and here this square and this square root will cancel. So what we will be left out with 8.78 by 2, right? So 8.78 by 2 plus 8.78 by 2, right? It will be equal to 8.78 itself. Okay, then f2 will be equal to 0. Why? Because here we will consider minus instead of plus. Okay, the only minus it will become, so this and this will cancel, so you will be left out with 0. Okay, so you can directly substitute in calci also, and you can find out that it is 8.78. This is the maximum value of stress that is occurring, and this is the minimum, that is 0. Okay, so we have determined the principal stresses, maximum and minimum principal stresses F1 and F2. So this was the question, right? So we have solved successfully. So the important thing here was calculation of P. The calculation of P from this given condition, that tau V is equals to 0. Tau V is equals to 0 they had given us, right? So we have calculated the P value from this particular condition. So I hope you have understood. If any doubt, you can ask me now. If any doubt, if you did not understand any of the steps, please let me know. Is it clear? I hope it is clear. Prerna, is it clear? Prithviraj, Vagatti?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, okay. Then we have Sachin Deshpande. Sachin Deshpande.
Yes, sir.
Artha Aitre?
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay. So moving on to next numerical. Moving on to your next numerical. Okay. So you can see the fourth numerical, we have a simply supported beam. Simply supported beam. Okay, the cross section is given 120 by 300. 120 by 300. In section and has a span of 10 meters and has a span of 10 meters. Okay. And has a span of 10 meters. Okay, length of the beam is 10 meters, pre-stressed with a parabolic cable which has eccentricity, which has maximum eccentricity of 100 mm at mid-span and minimum eccentricity of 20 mm at support. Okay, you can see at the mid-span we have 100 mm eccentricity, which is the maximum eccentricity, and at the support we have 20 mm eccentricity, which is the minimum eccentricity. Okay. Effective pre-stressing force in the cable is 300 kilonewton. That is P value they have given, P 300 kilonewton. The beam carries an inclusive, all inclusive meaning including the dead load. They have given us that the UDL is 30 kilonewton per meter. Okay, it is inclusive of your dead load, no problem. Determine the principal tension at 0.6 meter from the left support. Okay, from the left support, 0.6 meter from the left and 20 mm above the centroidal axis. Okay, so now we have to determine this particular principal stresses where at 0.6 meters from the left support. You can see from the left support we are considering a 0.6 meter, right? This section we are considering, and where we have to consider 20 mm above the centroidal axis. So this is a centroidal axis, right? I have drawn. So 20 mm above the centroidal axis. You can see this 20 mm, meaning this is our point of interest or the plane of interest. Okay, this is our plane of interest, which is 20 mm above the neutral axis, 20 mm above the centroidal axis. So this is the centroidal axis. This is the point which we are interested in. Okay, so this is almost 20 mm above the neutral axis, 20 mm above the neutral axis. So in cross section, it will be visible in this format in the cross section. Okay, so this is visible in cross section. So now we have to consider a few different things while calculating. We cannot directly calculate at the support, right? We have to consider it at this particular section. Okay, and not at the neutral axis. We should not calculate at the neutral axis. We have to calculate 20 mm above the neutral axis at this particular point. Okay, so we have a few changes in this particular numerical. Now let us check how we have to go about solving this numerical. Now, reaction at this particular support reaction, what is the reaction? It is nothing but half, right? Half of the load which is acting, half of the total load which is acting. Total load is what? 30. 30 into the span. Span is what? Span is given. Span is given. Where is span given? Span is, what is the span of this beam? 10 meters. Okay. 10 meters is the span. Then 30, right? 30 into 10. How much is it? 300, right? 300 is the total load. 300, half of 300 will come over here. Half of 300 will come over here. So half of 300 is what? 150, right? 150 is the reaction RA. 150 is the reaction RB. Okay, so now what we will do, we will multiply that by the factor of safety. We will multiply by the factor of safety and we will calculate directly. So 150 into 1.5, it is what? Equal to 1.5. If we do, it will come as 225 kilonewton. Okay, so that is the reaction that we will consider. 225 is the reaction that is at the support. Okay, multiplying by the factor of safety. 225 at the support. Okay. Now at this particular point, we have to consider what? We have to consider the vertical component of this P, right? At the vertical component of this P. So that I have drawn over here. This is the point, right? This point I have drawn over here. This point, and this is your parabolic cable, right? P, and this is the vertical component. Okay, PV we know it is equal to sine theta, right? In PV, you can see here PV is equal to sine theta. Okay, so we have to find out the value of this sine theta. We have to find out the value of this sine theta. Now, we know this equation for a parabola. We know this equation of the parabola. Y is equal to 4hx by L square into L minus x. Okay, so this is the equation for a parabola. Now, if you derive, okay, if you find the derivative of this with respect to x, if you find the derivative, if you do dy by dx of this particular equation, it is equal to sine theta. Remember this, okay? The derivative of this particular equation is equal to sine theta. So sine theta is equal to 4hx by L square into L minus x. 4hx by L square into L minus x. Okay, what is h over here? H is nothing but the eccentricity. Okay, eccentricity 80, which is over here 80. L is what? Span of your beam, that is 10 meters. Then again L we have written, no problem. And x is what? X is the distance from your support. Distance from your support, that is given as 0.6 meters, right? 0.6 meters, that is nothing but 600 mm. Okay, 600 mm, that we have substituted, no problem. Now, that sine theta is equal to what now? It is equal to 0.03. Sine theta is totally equal to 0.03. So now that we can substitute sine theta over here in this equation, we can substitute sine theta. You can see we have substituted sine theta 0.03 and P value, it is what? 300 kilonewton. 300 kilonewton. Hence we can, we have found out what? PV we have found out, right? PV we have found out that is equal to 9,000 Newton, 9,000 Newton. Okay. Now once we have calculated reaction, we have also calculated PV. We can calculate what? We can calculate VU. We can calculate VU. So it is what? 225, which was the reaction, right? Which was the reaction 225 into 10 power 3, right? Minus PV, right? Because the reaction is acting in upward direction and this PV is acting in downward direction. So this is negative, this is positive. So the VU that we have calculated now is equal to 216 kilonewton. 216 kilonewton. Okay, no problem. Now we have to substitute this in the particular equation of your shear stress. Tau V, we have to substitute. Now we cannot apply this 1.5, the general formula for your rectangular section. We cannot apply this particular formula because this formula gives us the shear stress at where? At the neutral axis. Right, where your shear stress is maximum, this will give at the neutral axis, but now we are not finding it at the neutral axis. Where we are finding 20 mm above the neutral axis, right? 20 mm above the neutral axis. So this particular formula cannot be applied. So you have to use the general formula VUAY by IB. So we cannot apply this formula, general formula, that is the average shear stress formula, cannot be applied. Okay. So VU we have calculated, it is 216. Now we have to calculate this A and Y bar. IB is direct. We can calculate, no problem for calculation of IB. Now to calculate this A and Y bar, let me show you in the cross section. Okay. So this is your cross section. This is the plane of interest, or the point of interest is here in this particular plane. So as I've told you, you have to consider the area from the top to this particular area of interest, from the top to the area of interest, or the plane of interest. So this is the shaded area, which you can see is my small a. This particular area is small a. So small a is equal to what? It is equal to 120 into this height. This height, how can we calculate this height? The total depth is 300, total depth is 300. So this half depth will be 150. 150. Now this plane is located at 20 mm above the neutral axis, right? So 150 minus 20 will give us 130. So this depth is 130. So 120 into 130. This is my area. This is my area. Now y bar. Y bar, I have shown you this is y bar. So how can you calculate y bar? Can anyone help me in calculation of y bar? Y bar. Can you tell me what is the y bar value now? Y bar. I need the value of y bar. Yes. Can you tell me?
85, sir.
85. Okay, 85 is the correct answer. What you have told me is correct. So how have you arrived at 85? 20 plus
130 by 2.
130 by 2. Correct. 130 by 2. So this is equal to 85. Correct answer. 85 mm. Correct. So I hope you have understood how we can calculate this y bar and a. So what is the value of a? Can you tell me what is the value of a? 120 into 130. What is this value?
One 15600.
15600. Okay, mm squared. So this is the area which we are concerned with, a and y bar. So you can substitute this particular thing in your shear stress formula. Shear stress formula, right? You can see I have substituted VU a y bar by IB. Okay, I is nothing but BD cubed by 12. BD cubed by 12. Here I have calculated that. You can substitute. We have got the value of shear stress, 8.84. Now Fx, as usual, P by A, Fx you can calculate 8.33, P by A, and Fy is 0 because there is no vertical pre-stress. Okay, now we can substitute these particular values in our principal stress formulas, that Fx plus Fy by 2 plus square root of Fx minus Fy by 2 the whole square plus tau V square. Right, it is plus for calculation of maximum shear stress, calculation of maximum principal stress, and it is minus over here for calculation of minimum principal stress. Okay, so we have calculated what was required, right? In this equation, in this particular problem, we have calculated where? We have calculated at this plane, at this particular point. At this particular point we have calculated. So remember this particular equation, and the derivative of this equation is equal to sine theta, which we can substitute over here. Okay, h is what? H is eccentricity. H is eccentricity. You can see eccentricity is 100 minus 20, 100 minus 20, because you can see it is not located at the centroid. It is located 20 mm below, right, at the support. So it will be 100 minus 20, that is 80. Okay, 80. So h is equal to 80, which you have substituted here. You can see 80. It is not 100. Don't substitute 100 over here. So take care. We have some tricky things in this particular numerical. So be careful while solving. Okay, so is this a numerical clear? I hope this is clear. If any doubts, please let me know. I'll explain once more if you have not understood any of these steps. So can we move on to the next numerical? One more last numerical we will solve and we will end today's session. Yes, can we move on to the last numerical of today's session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here you can see we have a last numerical. P is given to us. Total load is given to us. Okay, it is dead load plus live load. Okay, 5 kilonewton per meter. This UDL which is acting is 5 kilonewton per meter. Okay, cross section of the beam is given to us 120 by 300. Length of the beam is 10 meters. Okay, this is the given data. What we have to find? We have to find the maximum and minimum principal stresses at support section. No problem, at the support section. Now, the beam is additionally, this is extra question which they have mentioned, extra statement. The beam is additionally pre-stressed by vertical cables, imparting a stress of 2.5 Newton per mm squared in the direction of the depth of the beam. So they are doing what? Vertical pre-stressing. So if this is your cross section, they are doing vertical pre-stressing in this way, right? So here I'll draw. So this is your beam cross section. This is how they are pre-stressing. So they are applying vertical pre-stress also. So what is the change in this particular problem compared to your previous problem? There is this particular vertical pre-stress which they are applying. Okay, 2.5 Newton per mm squared. So what is this value? This is nothing but Fy, right? Fy value is 2.5, which was usually 0, right? But here we have to consider this 2.5. Okay, 2.5, and Fx is equal to P by A. Fx is equal to P by A normally, which we calculate, right? The pre-stressing force which they have given is 180, right? 180 P 180 into 10 power 3 divided by the cross-sectional area, 200, 120 into 300. You will get Fx value, right? The remaining things are same. You can try in your house. You can try as a assignment, and you can tell me if you face any problems while solving. So, right, the numerical is easy, right? The same thing you have to calculate, right? Fx max and F max and F minimum you can calculate, right? We have this particular formula with us, right? Fx is this, Fy is given as 2.5, right? 2.5. So do not make this particular term as 0. They have given us the value of Fy as 2.5 directly. They have given, okay, directly they have given. Now suppose sometimes they do not give us the value of this particular Fy, right? They do not give us directly Fy. They do not give you. They give you in terms of force, right? Usually how they give you for Fx, they give you in terms of force, right? They give you in terms of force, which we later convert it to Fx. So similarly, they will give you in terms of Fy. They will give you in terms of vertical force, right? They give you in terms of vertical force. They will tell you that the stirrups, right? The stirrups have a vertical force, right? Vertical pre-stressing force in them. So suppose 330 kilonewton. Suppose 30 kilonewton is the vertical pre-stressing force which is applied to the stirrups, and the spacing, okay, spacing of the stirrups is say 100 mm center to center. 100 mm center to center. They will mention it in this format, 100 mm center to center. Now remember these two values. Now I'll tell you the formula to convert these particular values to what? To your Fy, to convert these particular values to Fy. So Fy is equal to P, okay, which is in vertical direction, the pre-stressing force which is applied in the vertical direction divided by B into spacing. Okay, B into spacing. Now I have told you the pre-stressing force which was applied was 30. For an example, we had taken 30 kilonewton. So it will be 30 into 10 power 3 divided by B. What was B? B is breadth of your beam, which we will consider as what? Which we will consider as 120 in this particular numerical. We'll consider 120. And the spacing, I told you the spacing of stirrups was 100 mm center to center. Okay, so this will give you the value of Fy. Okay, suppose if they do not give you directly in this format, right, 2.5 Newton per mm square, and they give you the value of force and the spacing of the stirrups. Okay, then you can substitute it in this formula, P by B into spacing, and you can calculate Fy. Okay, so is this clear how we can calculate Fy? Okay, I hope it is clear. Have you understood? Have you understood? Yes or no? Have you understood? Let me know whether you have understood. Yes, please let me know whether you have understood.
Understood, sir.
Understood, no problem. So you can try to solve this particular numerical, and if you face any problems, you can let me know. So I hope you have understood today's session. Was it clear? Today's session you have understood all the numericals?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Shiv Kumar Mulmani.
Yes, sir.
ಅರ್ಥ ಐತ್ರಿ? Sweta and Swati, two new faces
Yes,
today
sir.
we have seen after many days. Okay, okay. So, Swati, have you understood? Okay. So this was regarding what we have learned today, how to calculate the shear stress. Okay, shear stress, and then how to calculate the principal stresses. Okay, principal stresses F max and F minimum. So F max is usually regarding compressive, and F minimum is for tensile. Okay, so we have learnt shear stress calculation, and we have learnt principal stress calculation is in what, in your rectangular beams. Okay, in rectangular beams. In next session, we will try to understand how to calculate shear stress and principal stress in I sections. Okay, in different kinds of sections like I sections, in T sections, and having different kinds of eccentricities. Okay, different kind of profiles of your cables. Okay, different cable profiles. So with this, I think we can end your session today. You can give your attendance. You can give your attendance, and after you give an attendance, you are free to exit today's session. Everyone, please give your attendance. You have attended the class. Don't leave without giving your attendance.